Yep, we are.
Awkward silence. I did it on purpose. Hey, welcome to the Last Lap Live. I'm Brian Smith. She's Shelly, this guy, and we're going to start the show a little different. We're going to bring our first guest on, Travis Philo, driver of the 5T. And in my house, I just want you to know, I'm going to let you know this early. Earlier in your career, your 5 looked more like a 2 most of the time because you were upside down all the time. So whenever somebody crashes in our house, upside down Travis Philo. It's the Brian List guy call. I just thought you should know that. We still do that, but even though you haven't done that in quite a while, so that's good.
Yeah, it's been a while.
That it started out that way, but
everybody does that when they first start. So
yeah.
Well, not everybody.
Most people.
But you get fast that way, I guess.
Yeah.
That's why it probably took me 20 years to get a little bit faster. But so Travis, you got something going on today. Or tomorrow you got to get home and go to sleep. You got to work in the morning, or what's that?
I gotta get up, go to work. I go and work about 6:30. So I have an hour drive back home. So
newly graduated from BG, and now he's got a big boy job and big boy responsibilities.
Just like that, you went to college and got a job.
Yeah, went to Bowling Green. Graduated this past December. Went through the construction management program, and now I'm an estimator for a construction company in Toledo.
Cool. Do you work with your dad at all? Because isn't he in the...
we're a subcontractor. He works for Rudolph Libby. We're a subcontractor then. We do metal studs, drywall, ceilings, painting. So.
Okay. So we've had, as always, the best conversation is beforehand. So we had some pretty good stories we were talking about with Lindsay over here, who won't come on camera, even though I think she should be sitting next to you on the couch, because apparently you guys are partners in crime. You can sit right here. I'm telling you. Well, at least join in. I mean, they can hear you. So I don't know where you want to start, but we need to start with let's talk a little bit about the racing, where you came from, how you ended up in the 410 sprint car to begin with. We'll get that out of the way, and then we'll talk about Travis Philo.
All right. Let's see here. 4 years old, got in a go-kart. My dad was racing at Fremont and Palmyra. Me and him raced together for about 2 years, and then he gave it up and focused on me. We got a quarter midget when I was 5. I raced go-karts and quarter midgets for a year together, and then we went strictly to quarter midgets. Ran that for until I was 15. Had pretty good success in that. Raced for Nervos. They're out in Akron. They owned our cars the last couple of years. Got to travel around.
All right.
We went to Portland, Oregon, Phoenix, California. We went all over the place racing those things. So that was pretty neat.
Wow.
It's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
Nervo.
Yeah, John Rod, John raced mostly USAC stuff, but he started out racing sprint cars.
Yeah.
He ran Attica,
Yeah, he ran,
Fremont. Rob was actually pretty successful in a sprint car.
It was Blue 21 and?
Yeah, Blue 21 and.
He was racing when I first started, I remember.
Blue Bayou, that was
Blue
their
Bayou,
saying.
yeah.
And then when I was 15, we got a sprint car. Me and Cole Duncan, actually, we grew up racing Corvettes together, and he got a sprint car at the same time I did. I always went to the races with him, watched his dad. We went to Attica when he was racing the All-Stars there towards the end of his career. And then I started racing at Wayne County, Mercer. Didn't race around here until because I wasn't 16 yet. And then we
started riding 410.
Yeah, started riding 410. We talked about going to 305, but we thought we'd just make the jump and do the 410 as it is. So it took me a while to get going. Like you said, I did tear some stuff up in the beginning, but we got her figured out now. So
yeah, you've got a couple feature wins here in the last 2 years, right? You won one at Attica.
Yeah.
2 at Attica now?
2 at Attica.
2 at Attica.
Yeah, I guess I got 1 a year in me, so I need to step it up in that. But
well, one's more than none.
Yeah.
I mean, it's difficult to win a feature around here.
It sure is. And
just you raced a couple weekends ago at the What About Laws and had down at Eldora, you had a really good run down there, didn't you?
Yeah, we made the show both nights. Didn't qualify too well down there, but we raced well. Raced good in the heat race and the B-Main Friday night. And then it was a pretty cool Saturday night. We started 8th in the heat race. We had Schatz, Madsen, Shane Stewart, and we ran 4th in that race, so that was pretty cool. Gearing up we're going to go to the Kings Royal this year.
All right, good.
Trying to get as many laps as I can down there before the beginning of July. So.
Is there another race down there before?
Speed Week. We're going to do the whole Speed Week, so we'll have one show before we go down there for the Royal.
Eldora don't do a whole lot of winged 410 stuff unless it's a special deal anymore.
Yeah, usually that outlaw race in May, then we got Speed Week, and then Kings Royal's about it.
Yeah.
And there's an All-Star race at the end of the year. We usually try to hit that.
I think they do end up
You like running down there?
Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite places to race. Yeah.
It's cool.
Brian, did you see the grimace on Brian's face?
Yeah.
No, that wasn't a grimace.
No?
That wasn't a grimace. I'd like to race down there too. It's
Do
just
ya?
Oh yeah, yeah. I've done all right down there. I've run the top 10 a couple times down there. It's a neat place to go for sure. Even if you're just watching, it's cool to go down there and watch.
See, I'm not a big Eldora fan. It's too big, it's too wide open. I like racing. I want to see some racing.
Yeah, I understand.
I don't want to see a fast
It's different,
train
though.
that, well, probably for what you guys do. You guys, it's probably fun to be around the top wide open, but as a spectator,
Grimace.
as a spectator, you go to Eldora and you're just really going for atmosphere. And I'm not bashing Eldora. It's just like for me, I want to see some passing. I don't want to see at Eldora. You got to make your move on the first lap, or for the most part, you're.
The last couple of years, though, they've had some good racing down there.
Yeah.
I know. I know you're saying about 5 years ago, so it was kind of follow leader. But last couple of years, it's been decent racing down there.
So you're doing the whole Speed Week deal. Have you done that before? Have you ran all of them before?
Yeah, we ran the whole thing last year. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we think we missed a couple shows, but we've done most of it the last couple of years.
And what's it like by the end of that week? Is it just you and your dad?
Lindsay's dad, Gary, will go with us for most of it, and then I think Keith Kramer's gonna go with me this year. But yeah, it's mostly just me and my dad. So
what's it like between you and him by the end of that week? It's when you're wore out and.
It depends how it's going. If we're racing good, then we're both pretty happy. But last year we made every show, but I think one night at Fremont, so it was a decent week. Yeah, if you're tearing stuff up, it's a tough week because you don't got much turnaround time for the next night. But yeah, it's
Do you
a
like
bitch.
the 9-day deal, or would it have been easier with the 7-day deal, or does it not really make a difference at that point?
It don't make a difference. I'd like to race every day if I could. So it's
Like most racers, I
Yeah.
agree.
Speedway's coming early. Seems like. It's,
But they say that every year, but it's been around this time.
Yeah.
for a
last
long
week of
time.
June.
It seems so. Seeing back in the day, it used to be over like 4th of July weekend. I
He's a
always.
legendary fan.
Yeah, back in the day. Yeah.
It was after the 4th of July.
Yeah, or
the 4th of
during it,
July.
because I remember we would always miss fireworks because we were out racing somewhere, or doing something race related.
All right, so we got most of the racing stuff out of the way. Let's
That's
talk
it?
about Travis Fowler. Yeah, this is a racing show, but we want to get to know the drivers more than anything. Unless you got more racing stuff you want to talk about. You got something interesting as far as racing goes to talk about? You got any interesting, maybe some Speed Week stories or something?
I don't really have much on Speed Week. Yeah. All right, let's get into the learn
The
about.
real-
Are you sure you don't want to sit over here,
The
Lindsay?
real Travis Philo stuff.
Yeah.
So I think she's got some stuff written down over there that maybe we can start with.
I just really asked Lindsay, I've been around Travis. I know what a nut he can be. The things he does sometimes just amaze me. That, we take him out on the boat and I think, did you jump off the back?
Farmer was saying, yeah, you're going down
At speed.
wide open out in the lake and you just jump off the back.
Yeah, I told Farmer, he's like, "You care if I jump off?" He said no, and turned around and I jumped off. He didn't even
Before
know I
you
was-
could even bat an eye, he was.
Did you expect him to come back and get you?
Oh yeah, I figured he would. I hoped he would.
You hoped he would.
Yeah.
How far out did you jump? I mean, where were you at when you did that?
You're good ways out.
Yeah, we were pretty far out.
Man, that's trusting a farmer.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'd be that trusting.
And that would hurt. It hurts when you're going that fast.
depends how you land.
Oh, okay.
I've done it before, so yeah. I knew what I was doing. I'm experienced.
All right, if you say so. I hear you're experienced in, we talked about you being experienced in big wheel racing
Yeah.
at Fifth Third Field too. So we got a little bit of the story beforehand, but this was Lindsay's version, and she didn't come out on the good end.
And
so
she's
that,
blushing over.
Yeah.
Okay.
So her story wasn't really that good because she came out on the bad end. You came out victorious. So let's hear your side of the story on how that worked.
All right. Well, Lindsay and I went to a Mud Hens game one night. Thought it'd be a normal, nice night, watch a game, and we had a few beers or whatever, and we're staying there just walking up there on the deck, and these two guys that worked for the Mud Hens came up to us and asked, "Hey, you guys want to be in a contest?" And I was like, "Hell yeah, I do." And Lindsay didn't really want to do it, but I told her we're gonna do it. And I think it was 7th inning stretch or something. They got these big wheels. They had the bicycle tires on the front, and we had to race down the first baseline. And I knew I was gonna wax her ass anyway, so I figured there'd be a little cheating there. So the mascot Muddy held me back when they said go, and she got about 3-second head start or so, and then I was coming. And we got let's say
Does it got any visual on that? I mean, what did you look like when you're pedaling that?
one of those.
Okay.
Yeah, it was.
I'm just
A
curious.
little bit faster than that though. I was
Wasn't
going
there
pretty good.
a pew in there or something?
That was the squirrel.
Oh, that was okay. We'll get to that
Yeah.
story. Sorry.
Let's say we're about 10 feet from the finish line. You know, I pull up beside her and then I kind of, did one of these numbers and she almost went in the dugout. Then I crossed finish line first. I got up and I spiked the big wheel down.
Slid
The
it
crowd went wild, right?
Oh, they were going wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my prouder moments at Fifth Third Field.
And-
Yes.
Are there any moments that weren't proud there?
No, I just.
What an interesting story.
Nah.
And if you know Lindsay, Lindsay's not a real
She's
Oh.
laid back.
And bashful. She won't even come on screen.
No.
She's sitting, like, you're looking at me, she's right in front of me, and she won't come over here and talk. She's got the other half of these good stories.
It's so
that
weird
Kyle's
though,
got.
like when they go out, because I always sit at home wait for the Travis and Lindsay stories because they just do the most off the wall things, and I just sit and wait for
I
that
don't know how he does it.
freaking
but he
Travis
just, like,
text.
He can talk me into anything. We were sitting over at Clinton Bay one day, and we had been there for
If
most
you're
of
going
the
to tell
day.
half the story, you're going to have to come over here on camera and
I
tell
can't
half the
do
story.
it. No, but we're like we're there all day, and he's like, "Let's go ride a tandem bike." And like any other time, I'd be like, "No way," and I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it." He ends up,
Sounds like you're a bad influence.
yeah,
That's what it is.
he ends up crashing it, and they had my debit card.
You
so
crashed a tandem bike?
He ran it into a curb like he was gonna get up over the curb and crashed it.
Yeah.
Trying to
We had to walk her back.
Trying to pop wheelies on a tandem bike with her on the back?
Yeah. Yeah.
And when they go out, it's always fun for me because Lindsay will send videos after they've been like, I think Putin Bay is usually their downfall.
We don't invite anybody with us.
The two of them will just take off and
No
go over
witnesses.
To
Yeah.
Putin Bay. Oh, she takes.
Yep,
videos.
she's taking videos though.
She does.
Yeah.
Now, if you knew
I have to
Travis,
have some though, because he always has embarrassing pictures of me, so I have to have something.
that sounds like you should do
No,
something a little different than Travis doesn't have.
He always just, I don't know how he does it, but he'll catch me at a moment and then.
So how, if you knew Travis was going to be on, how did we not get one of these videos to play on the show?
I don't know. I
I didn't find out till yesterday.
Yeah, we
It's
didn't.
kind of a.
Yeah,
Because there are some good dance videos. You've had
Yeah.
some good ones.
I have. had some
Travis
videos.
is a dancing machine. If you've not been,
You had a dance off at
I had
Booth Bay?
several.
I've
Several
had
days?
a few. Yeah, me and Brian Sabito actually, him and I had a pretty good one.
I never
that,
would imagine that.
That benefit for it was in Gibsonburg at the bar a few years ago. When he dressed up
Yeah.
like
Oh,
Farmer
yeah.
and I
That's
dressed
it.
up like
Halloween.
Rex Lejeune.
Was it a Halloween thing?
Yeah, I believe it was.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if it was.
No, we did a Kick It, but something for Kick It. And
Yeah.
these guys came dressed as Rex and Farmer. It was way cool.
See, we got to get these videos up on the show so we can show those.
So one thing about Travis, there's never a dull moment. Like we talk about early on when we first started doing this last lap, like the
Right.
first one. Travis was going to be our first person, our first guest, and
Yeah,
we
you
were
backed
gonna
out on us.
follow him around. Remember, and you had to see how he does that whole 5T thing. How he
Yeah, I have noticed that. There's some 5T stickers in places that I wouldn't expect to see them.
right after the season started, I'm in town and I'm doing racetrack stuff, and I stop and run into Kroger's, and I come out and I hit the thing, and I'm like, and I look, and the brand new Pace truck has it blends in real nice. I don't know, everything we own has a 5T
Farmer's
sticker
truck.
on it. The boat, everything.
Jet
The
Express.
Jet Express.
The Jet Express has got a 5T on it. They're probably
That
just
was
learning
real
this.
slick.
We went to Applebee's one day and sat down, and Farmer starts laughing, and I look behind me, and on a post there's a 5T sticker at Applebee's. It's
He
everywhere.
got my arm one night, and I walked around with it all night.
You had one on your back one night too. I remember seeing it.
He's out of control.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, what else do we got there on Travis?
Actually, Lindsay just told me that he likes to hang out with his grandma and grandpa. Your grandma and grandpa boy.
I am.
Yeah,
Um,
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, they're my dad's parents. I never met my mom's parents, but that's where our race shop is. So
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah.
I guess I thought that was at your house.
now our race shop's in Bowling Green. It's just an addition on the back of the garage, and yeah, except tonight, I pretty much see them every night. We're over there working, so
She
Wait.
also told me you were a mama's boy too, but I wasn't gonna.
yeah, I wouldn't go that far, but
Okay.
yeah.
It's all her. She was telling me. I didn't have a chance to like get a hold of your dad or anything because we waited so late. You know,
Lindsay's over there
yes.
giggling.
But yeah, my grandpa and grandma, they do a lot for me. Like grandma, she always washes my suits, and grandpa's always making runs to Kissers and stuff for us. And Yeah, they do a lot for us because my dad and I are working throughout the week. So
They come to the races too then?
yeah, pretty much every weekend. They're starting to slow down a little bit, but my grandpa he lives for it, so he's there every weekend. But
How about mom? Does mom? I see her name where she signs in. Is she supportive? She help you out a lot.
oh yeah, she goes to most races too. She hasn't been to many this year. She's been working a lot of weekends, but she goes to most of the races.
That's cool when you have a good
Yeah.
support system like
It's
that.
I mean racing's a family sport. So.
Definitely.
So how do you find time to do all this stuff with Lindsay if you're at the shop just about every night? All
Well,
year long?
this is last year. Now I got a job. I don't really do much anymore.
Oh, okay.
I work throughout the day and go to the race shop at night, and that's about it. And race on the weekends. So
See-
life slowed down. I had to grow
Yeah.
up a little bit.
See, these kids have hit that transitional stage where they went from kids into,
We just have to plan it a little bit better now. Instead of being like, hey, let's go to Put in Bay tomorrow. It's like,
hey, it's Tuesday, let's go to Put in Bay tomorrow.
yeah.
That don't happen
Kind of have
anymore.
to plan it a few weeks in advance.
Yeah.
So you live at home? Or do-
Yeah, right now I'm living at home, saving up money. I'm looking to buy some land either somewhere between Bowling Green and Waterville and put up a shop and an apartment. Because we've grown out of our shop. It's getting pretty small. It's probably about the size of yours. I've heard yours is pretty small too.
Yeah, it's pretty small. It's not as big as this room, so I don't know
Yeah.
how small your shop
We're-
is.
it's-
But
Ours is probably twice the size of this room.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
So are you thinking
Big time
of building
team.
something where you can live and work at the same
Yeah,
time?
I'd like. I mean, I don't need a house right now, so I just put a small
Some
apartment.
kind of
in it.
living, yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's one, the Wises had one out there close to you, right?
Yeah,
Is that Bruce White? Does he have that now?
yeah. We're actually
That's
my
it.
grandpa found that for him. Hod used to when he ran that 22
Yeah.
car for that lady that in Rudolph that won the lottery. She built that shop. I forget her name.
Wise.
Yeah, was that? Yeah,
What
yeah,
was her first name? I can't remember. I know her husband's Carl.
yeah.
Carl
Yep.
Wise, and
Yeah, my grandpa actually, he knew the guy that owned it and found that for Bruce White. And he's
that's my
kinda-
ideal place. Even for me, you could live there, you could play there, you could work there.
Yeah. He's kind of kicking himself now because he wish he would have bought it because it went for, it was pretty cheap when
Really?
Bruce bought it.
Has a nice piece of some frontal
Yeah,
property there, and
it's probably got 4 or 5 acres and it's got 6 overhead bays. It's got apartment, office area. It's
it's
really
really
nice.
nice. I've always thought it was really nice. I've been out there a couple times when
yeah.
the
we
Wises.
just wait Bruce out. Maybe he'll be able to get in.
Yeah, I don't know. He's been over here for a while. I don't know.
Yeah, he just started racing there a week or so ago. We saw him a couple times in the feature.
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Saturday.
That Saturday was the first time I seen him because it was really weird. I seen him going around and I thought, God, that car looks familiar. Who is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was got Harry there a couple times.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, we had some good racing there. We should
I
have
get-
been up towards the front, but it was, we
There
were
was a
at-
gaggle of us back there that we couldn't get away from each other.
Yeah, I think it was you, me, and DJ, and we started.
Stewart was in there too.
Yeah, started catching Bowman and Chris Andrews, but we didn't quite get to them.
I gave him
Hey.
business on Saturday because I passed the money outside.
Yeah.
You passed Travis on the outside?
Yeah,
He's usually a
Oh, I
around
know.
the top kind of guy.
Yeah. What are you
yeah,
doing down there?
yeah. I chose the bottom of that corner, but it didn't last. I got your back,
Yeah.
but
So the other two guys when I drove off the end.
yeah,
I watched the 410 feature, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I was so into the other stuff that was going on through the night. I don't even know if I
Yeah.
like comprehended what was going on. I was watching it, but I was really
It was secondary.
anticipating the stage
Yeah.
and the.
What'd you think of the Legends deal?
oh, that was awesome. I mean, the whole event. It was. I never thought I'd be going up to draw a pill behind Rick Burkle, Jim
Yeah.
Linder, and Jerry Niemeyer. That was pretty neat.
No kidding.
It was
Yeah,
just
somebody
welcome.
just posted a picture on Facebook with us 4 in there. That was pretty neat.
Oh, I haven't
Yeah.
seen that one yet.
Yeah,
It's cool that it's Tuesday, and there's people are still posting, and
Yeah.
I'm seeing new stuff, and I got some emails today, and it was just a really cool deal.
He was on the flag stand
He
for the
wasn't.
feature.
yeah,
Yeah, I was sitting up in below like the scoring tower, and I saw you stand up there and you were taking cell phone video and stuff. I thought, oh, that's pretty cool, man. I should have done that. And then you ended up staying up there the whole time.
yeah. It was. I've been bugging Monty for the last month or so. I wanted to get up there and watch a race, and he stopped me at the induction ceremony for the Hall of Fame, and he said, "Hey, you want to come up there tonight?" I was like, "Well, yeah, I do."
It's pretty hairy
Heck
seeing them
yeah.
guys coming out of the turn
Yeah, it was.
up there.
Yeah, when they hit the wall, the flag stand rattles a little bit, so that
Yeah.
was a little. Yeah, and Scott always, I guess, when he sees a caution and Monty doesn't, he bangs on the
Right?
with his foot, and I was like, what the hell's going on
Oh,
here?
yeah.
I started figuring out what they were doing, but Yeah, it was different experience. It was.
You
it was
probably
neat.
had the best when they came down, when they did their parade lift. That was
Yeah.
probably a really cool
Before
place to be.
live.
Yeah,
Did you
it
get that on
was
video?
I did. That
Did
was,
you?
You need to send that to me.
I'll have to do
Because
that.
I'm going to do a DVD of the Legends race, just the Legends portion of the race. And if anybody's watching that has anything, email it to me at punchy2plus@yahoo.com or get a hold of Fremont Speedway, and they'll end up getting it to me, because any information or any footage that I can get, as much as I can get, I'll be able to use some of it and put it together, because like you said, they're talking about it on Tuesday. They're going to be talking about it
Yeah.
for the rest of the week and for quite some time.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like it's going to happen every year from now, and I hope it does.
I don't know if it's going to be an every year thing. I don't know. You don't want it to learn. We were talking the other night. I know Farmer's here. He probably could clear that up for you, but you don't want it to get like we were talking about the Prelude. How everybody was all about the Prelude,
Right.
and then after a couple of years, you don't want to have it lose its.
I think with this deal, though, you'll have different drivers. Like we were talking with Rick Ferkel. Rick's not going to do it.
No.
He's had, that was it. I talked to him afterwards, and he said, people asked me if I was nervous, and I'm not nervous. I didn't know what was going to happen. There's nothing to be nervous about. What I wondered is if I could still do it, and now I know I can.
That's what he
So-
said. He said it was a young man's sport.
Yeah. So I think you'll have turnover. Like what we heard, a couple guys.
Yeah, like you said,
Huntley.
Kevin Huntley.
Yeah.
He'll be 50 next year. So.
That's super cool.
Kevin Huntley,
I would
Frankie
love to
Kerr,
see.
Rick Unger, those guys.
Yeah.
They want to do it now. So you'll have some turnover. I doubt that Jerry Niemeyer would be able to do it again. And
That was big
Just-
for me to see
Yeah.
Jerry. I thought that was just, for me, that was the whole night. Because I know he struggled the last couple of weeks with really not feeling well, and they were giving him some IV fluids, and he was weak, and just to see him go out there. And I know when his heat race went out and he led the first lap, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, if we could just throw the checker flag now,
Yeah.
I would be totally fine with it.
my brother got a shot from coming out of turn 4, him going underneath the flag stand, first qualifying lap, and it's set way back, and you can see the crowd and everything. It's just, it's a cool.
Yeah,
picture.
it was really cool.
Actually, my dad was pretty good friends with him. When I was growing up, we'd always go to races and watch him when he was in the USAC and stuff. And we actually, my first sprint car we bought from, it was
Oh, yeah?
Jerry's old car. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
So yeah, that was cool to see. I haven't seen him race in a long time.
me neither.
And like, I raced with Mark. I mean, that was cool to see him race again. But and Rodney, I didn't race against him. That was cool to see him race. But
Rodney
yeah,
can
like-
still race.
yeah, he's still got it.
Yeah.
I know when Cole and I started racing, he would get in the car, in Cole's car a few times, and he's still got it.
Yeah.
But like, I never saw Rick Ferkel race, and that was pretty neat. So yeah, that was a great event. I was pretty impressed.
All right, well, we got one more thing we got to do here before we send you off, and that's the having a ball with art. So I think you know how this works, right? You got to put this on your head, draw a picture of the 5T, draw the race car, put the 5T on it, and then we'll let you bring it down and autograph it for us. So Rick Ferkel's the only one that wouldn't do it for us, but Jim Linder and Mark Keegan and all them guys all did that. So you can take as much time as you need, basically.
Probably gonna need a little bit.
Yeah. Don't take a whole lot of time, but we got Mike Burkett from Crown Battery
Yep, we
coming
have
up.
Crown Battery night this Saturday.
Well, Crown Battery Night this Saturday, which was a really cool event last year, and there a whole bunch of money ended up.
And you never
Extra.
know when Crown comes in. You never really know what's going to happen because
Now you
they-
can't look. That's cheating right there.
Well, I gotta see
Cheater.
her.
No, you can't see wear anything. You put it on your head and you got to draw it. This is our first cheater of the event here that trying to get away.
But yeah, Crown
But-
comes in and normally they'll throw, they'll say like, oh, wait, let's add this to this or let's do something. That was quick.
Autograph that for me. Yep, and then after them we'll come back. We'll have Mike Linder on a little bit later too, and I'm sure we'll talk quite a bit about the Legends race there. But Travis, thanks for coming in. Let me show that to the crowd here. Yeah, it's a big crowd.
How many we got?
It's got 5T on it. I don't know how many people we got watching, Steven. You know?
Doesn't say.
Doesn't say. Well, all you people out there, say goodbye to Travis Philo. Thanks for coming in.
No
Appreciate
problem.
it.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
Trev.
Hey, no
You did
problem.
good. And I think we're going to do, what, the 410 highlights from
Yeah.
Saturday? The race that didn't matter.
Nervous?
But go ahead and show those highlights. And we'll be right back.
Oh.
Battle for the lead out of turn 4. Here comes Cole Duncan. Cole Duncan has found something on the bottom of the racetrack. Gets a good run off the bottom in turn 2 to the inside of mid, slides out for the lead. Cole Duncan takes the lead. Craig Mintz trying to stay close. Runs off his rear bumper. Now into the third spot. Here comes Rob Cheney. Mintz to the outside of Duncan. Back into the lead into turn 3. And Rob Cheney gonna close in right in front of your leader. There goes Cole Duncan using the lap car. Craig Mintz with a good run off of 2 again to the inside of Cole Duncan. Side by side. Slide job in 4.
When it's time to say goodbye to your current vehicle, hop online to BaumanAutoGroup.com or visit the Bauman dealership nearest you. We've been serving the people of Ohio since 1956. With over 800 pre-owned and certified pre-owned vehicles of every make and model at our 6 locations across northern Ohio, finding your next vehicle is easy. And if the vehicle you like isn't nearby, we can bring it to the Bauman store nearest you. Or shop online 24/7 at BaumanAutoGroup.com. Then visit the Bauman dealership in your town. Bauman won't be beat.
Alright, back.
We're back.
Hey,
That was quick.
welcome back to the Last Lap Live. We were talking with Travis Philo some more afterwards and taking our time getting back in. We're with, is it Burkett or Burkett?
Burkett.
Mike Burkett and Josh Harrison. Mike's from Crown Battery and Josh is a Crown-sponsored driver in the 305 division. So thanks
Nephew.
for coming in.
Yeah.
Oh, nephew. This is
Nephew.
Uncle nephew,
Okay.
yeah.
Yep.
Did you guys come in together so that it was easier for you to...
He was nervous. He said he couldn't do it by himself. He said if I start cussing on here, to start kicking me in the foot.
Yeah.
So
well,
that's what I'm here for.
Don't kick
Oh yeah,
people.
Farmer told us about the mics on them.
Yeah.
I know
You're
yesterday
just supposed to
when,
keep me in line is all it is.
Yeah, I'm just here to look pretty, and I'm not doing a very good job.
when we were talking, I said, well, you know, why don't we get Mike on? And he says, I asked him, he don't want to do it. He don't like to talk. And I said, okay. Then he called back today and he said, he'll do it. He's going to bring Josh with him.
Good. We'll start talking.
What do you want to talk about?
Crown Battery. Let's talk about Crown Battery.
Okay.
The
We'll
next
start off with
batteries.
that. Tell us about Crown Battery, about the business, and how you're involved with racing and that sort of stuff, and then we'll talk about Crown Battery night.
Well, Crown Battery started in Fremont as a battery radiator repair shop down on Front Street by the Koenig family. It has grown. We have, 15 years ago or so, we were bought out by a group here in Fremont, led by Hal Hawk. There was 10 partners at the time, and we have grown the business to be a worldwide battery distributorship, building anything from your automotive car battery to a mine car battery that weighs 26,000 pounds. Industry standard is now in the locomotive division is Crown Battery. We employ about 400 people here in Fremont,
Me included.
maybe short term.
Yeah.
If you keep interrupting.
And we have 8 different branches throughout Ohio, Illinois, Pennsylvania, and 4 or 5 in Canada. So it's really not mom and pop anymore. We're really a bigger company. As far as the racing deal, that was my dad's dream. My dad always wanted to bring his company into racing. He was fortunate that Hal partnered up with him, bought into the dream, and we started with just David Harrison a little bit, and David kept growing it, did a very nice job at promoting Crown Battery, and then it became, let's go ahead and sponsor a night, and let's put it back into the community. And this year we're sponsoring several cars, we're doing a night. Every year we do a special in honor of my dad, the Australian Pursuit, which was Dad's favorite race. So it all kinds of ties back to my dad and his interest in racing, and bringing the company that he so loved into that. Growing up as a kid, I was a dirt track kid. I mean, I was at Scutch every Friday. I was at Fremont every Saturday, and I was at Findlay every Sunday. Marilyn Gensman was my babysitter most of the time. So that's just how Dad brought us up, and Crown Battery's part of that now.
So, were you there on Saturday night?
I was not. I was actually out of town.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, growing up, when you did, I'm just curious of what your take was on that Legends deal. But
I rolled into Fremont and thought I was late. I should have went, but I thought I was going to miss it. I figured, these are probably going to be an earlier night, so I don't want to sound silly, but get the guys off the track and get them going. So I rolled into town late. I made the decision, I'll just stay home because I probably missed it. Wish I'd have came. It is something that I have looked forward to and have promoted. Talked to several guys and asked them to come out and watch this thing because it was going to be really a neat show.
Josh, you got to step into some big shoes. I seen you
Yeah.
again after Johnny Oxter. That's a big.
Yeah, well, I wasn't even going to go to the race. I mean, I had some other family plans, and just so happened we ended up going because I race every Saturday, so
Right.
we got to do something with the family. But yeah, I walked in and Johnny just went out, and he came back in, and
He
he's
didn't
like,
love it, did he?
I think he liked being out there,
Yeah.
but physically he couldn't. He said the steering wheel was rubbing his stomach, and it just wasn't comfortable.
That's what he said.
And Dad asked him, "Can you do it again?" No, immediately. Just nope, can't do it. And Dad's like, "You're gonna have to get in there." I'm like, I was dressed in shorts, flip flops, and a t-shirt. I'm like, how am I gonna get in this? I don't have any of my equipment here, so I had to go. Nate Dussel let me use all of his equipment, so luckily I was able to
That
go
had
out
to
there.
be cool to hop in.
Oh
after
man, that
a
was the
legend.
coolest
I mean,
thing. That was the
first time
John
you've driven it?
Oxter.
Yeah, I know. I don't even like looking at it because I don't want to scratch it. But,
Yeah.
but I got in it. I went out the first lap and I didn't realize no power steering, and all these guys. I mean, they're older guys, so I was kind of picking them off, and I was having a lot of fun with it. And it felt like a race to me, and I felt like I was leading that race. And Dad was in it too in his vintage car, and
it's old enough to be
yeah,
this
yeah,
car.
yeah.
It could have made the feature,
Yeah.
I would imagine, in the 410s with that car.
Yeah, well, it was supposed to.
Yeah.
But anyway, came off through the white flag, and I'm leading the thing, and going on the back straight, just blah, ran out of gas.
Oh.
They thought, they figured Oxter was in it, he just put around in it, and I just put a couple gallons in it, it would be good. Well, I was definitely on it.
Yeah.
Well, at least for that car anyway. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it was the neatest thing I've ever driven. I can understand why those guys, why their arms were so big back then. I mean, I was tired after 10 laps in the thing. I was telling them in the back room that the coolest thing was about it, you could look back and see where everybody was. I mean, you can't. I mean, you can't do that in your own car. You
You're not
can't
supposed to look back.
Yeah. Well, I want to know where that 10 car was.
Oh.
I need to. If he
No.
would beat me.
Why wasn't that driver in that 10 car?
I don't know.
David
I
Harrison, in your 305 running in the Legends race.
I
He
don't
was
know.
eligible, correct?
Yeah, he was eligible. He just felt like we couldn't do it correctly. He didn't want to go out there in his stuff. He wasn't going to be in my stuff because he didn't want to tear up my stuff because I don't have very much. So he was gonna do it in his own stuff, and he just didn't feel like his equipment was up to par. But we went out and we put my setup on his car for that little vintage stint, and he said, "Man, I felt like I could have been top 5 in that."
So
Legends
maybe
deal."
next year he'll do it then?
Well, I mean, not really a secret since I'm on the web now, but what I want to do is get that car, because that car won the 1993 Wayne County Championship, I believe, with Dad behind it, and I want to put the Burgundy 44 on that car. I mean, I think that would be pretty cool.
The
That
white,
would
the
be
blue,
cool.
and
And the
HDI
maroon and
car.
the HGI, yeah, I think that would be pretty cool.
I think my dad lettered that car, so you might be able to get it
Yeah.
again.
So he's responsible for the pink and the numbers.
Yes.
Yes.
The pink and the blue and the numbers.
Yes.
That's the car I remember Dad driving when I was growing up, the
Yeah.
HGI cars. I mean, I went to every single race, so,
That was
And
another.
that's the car that I think of David.
yeah.
Yeah,
Dorman,
exactly.
That's that car.
Exactly. So tell us a little bit about Crown Battery Night. Last year we had a lot of cool things happened, and it ended up paying like $5,000.
You never know when Crown comes in. I was telling you earlier, they come
Yeah,
in
so
on their night and it's just.
Give us
we're
an
gonna do
idea
this, we're gonna
without
do
giving
that.
it all away, and kind of some of the things you're looking at doing. I imagine we're gonna have the Pursuit again.
We are definitely going to have the Pursuit. Was my dad's favorite race. Something that he always enjoyed watching. So we're going to do that as long as we sponsor a night out to Fremont Speedway. As far as what to expect from Mr. Hawk, you have no idea. It's already started. I don't know if Rich has clued you in yet, but the Pursuit just gained money. Hal's throwing more money at it. Whatever Hal comes up with that night, that's just what we do, and we're very gracious for what Hal does for that night for us. It's kind of a neat little tribute to my dad, but it's also a neat little function to get all the factory workers back together. Every one of our factory workers has been invited. They're allowed to bring a guest with free tickets by Hal. Our goal is to pack your stands this weekend.
Thanks, Al.
Actually had to add some staff to help me out this weekend because I'll just have a booth for Crown that
Oh, okay.
they'll come and check in at a separate booth than everybody else, and because they do so much,
Right.
we want them to go smooth for them too, and
Right.
you guys got food vouchers and
We have food vouchers. We're going to have a little pre-race meet and greet with our drivers and our workers. And again, you never know what Hal's going to pull off that night.
Is this a deal where we need to start offering them beers at the beginning of the night to make it better at the end of the night, or?
Oddly enough, there's a big trade show out in California right now. All the people from Crown are out there, including Mr. Hawk. They are all flying in this weekend. Hal's oldest daughter, Megan, graduated from Fremont Ross this year, so he's got several graduation parties to go to. Hal's already made the commitment. I'm coming off the plane. I've got a graduation party. I will see you at the gate before 7 o'clock. I'll be there for a while, then I gotta go. So I don't think there'll be any beers needed. Hal's going to be probably ready to go, whether it be from the jet lag or whatever.
And anywhere I go anymore, I talked about Bauman's given, they're always doing charity things. There isn't a place I go that I don't hear Hal Hawk's name. Every event that I've been, somehow he's a part of it or has donated or is involved in it.
And it's all about giving back to him. I mean, he wants Fremont schools to do well. He wants the city of Fremont to do well. Whether it be in the sports programs, we sponsor a Little League team. We sponsor a softball team for the youth. Fireworks displays. Even our employees. I mean, every Thanksgiving you can plan on a nice gift from Hal.
I was out to Roots and they had just people running all over the place, and I said, "What is going on?" And they
It's
said,
like 3 boxes full of stuff.
Crown Battery.
Fills up my freezer.
Huge. They had these boxes everywhere, packing them up, and they told me that it was from Crown Battery to every employee, right?
Yes, every employee that works at Crown. We do it at Christmas. Normally he does something for you in a Christmas bonus type way. He just wants to give back. He's so oriented about Fremont, his employees, and he treats them so great. I mean, you know it as a driver, you got to have a great leader to make that team great. And we've got it out there. We've got a great leader. We've got great staff, and it just makes us all look so much better.
And those jobs are hard to come, to work for somebody like that. Personalized things like that, you don't have that anymore.
No.
It's just not out there.
And his biggest goal is we want to grow the work base in Fremont, Ohio. I mean, 7 years ago, we bought a company out of Mexico and closed it down and brought those jobs back. How many companies around here can say that?
Right.
And that's just what Hal's all about, is we're going to keep Fremont people employed.
And Crown is now the largest employer in the area, right? You guys have the
I don't believe so.
No?
You've got the Heinzes and the
Well, I was in an
Whirlpools.
econ class out to Tara, and this was a big discussion that it kind of got to be a debate whether it was Whirlpool or Heinz or Crown, and I could have swore he told us that.
No, it might be the largest locally owned. It may be. I don't want to speak off terms here, but we employ nearly 400 people. We're hiring again, which is, everybody talked about the recession. We did a slowdown. We never had a recession. We slowed down, and Josh can say it. 6 days, 10 hours for the last month?
Yeah, 56 hours for the last 4 months. So
Are you a fourth generation? As I'm sitting here,
at Crown?
Yeah. Are you a fourth?
Third. Yeah, like literally, I will get up at 6. I'll be at work at 6 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. Off work, go home, grab the race car to the track. That's how every weekend is for me.
I'm counting your mom as one and you as one. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm coming up with 4. I forgot your
Now, if it helps, my grandpa mowed the yard.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
Because Josh's mom and dad, Dave now works there, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Of my parents' 4 kids, all but one of them work there, and at one point we've all worked there. I graduated a year early in 1988. I started that summer. I decided, let me try this college thing. I went part-time in college. I had a lot of fun in college. So
The first year's usually pretty fun.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. I decided it's time to go back to work and make money, and I've been back there since 1990, and that's what we find is we're getting a lot of senior people where, you know, you're starting to see the 20+ year employee.
I noticed that when I got your employee list today, I got it in an email and it had their start date year, and I was like, wow, there's a lot of people that's been there a long time.
Right.
So what is your job there exactly? What's your title?
I am the transportation manager. I coordinate all the shipping activities worldwide. Going out, I do a little bit of the inbound stuff. We're working with primarily 3 or 4 local logistics companies. Again, trying to build them guys. MCS out of Toledo and Whitaker Logistics. Whitaker is by far our largest carrier. They do a phenomenal job for us. I order the pallets and some of the plastic stuffs. We buy all our pallets from Hammer Pallets. Again, use the local guy because that's where we want the monies kept. And that kind of thing. I manage a sales counter. You know, if anybody needs a battery, we do offer batteries for sale over there at 1445 Majestic Drive. So, nice plug. Huh?
Yeah.
I should
Good
go on the
job.
TV.
That was
Yeah,
good.
you should. You can have my job.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh, you're doing well. So, I do a little bit of everything there. Got to learn from my dad for 8 weeks, and then he went off to retirement, and been there ever since.
So did you step in to your dad's position then?
I did.
That's neat.
I've actually followed Dad. You know, my first job was, he needed a flunky for just a few hours so he could go home at night when I was in high school. So I worked a few hours in high school, and then when I graduated early, he needed a counter guy, so I worked with him then. My dad drove route truck for 15 years, and I got to jump on his old route when I became 21. I got to service all his old customers, which was really neat. Walking into these guys and saying, "Hey, how's Alex doing?"
Because you can't think of Crown or speak of Crown where you don't connect it to Alex Burkett.
Exactly. And he did a nice job around this area. He really took care of his customers and took a lot of pride in that. And then when he made the decision that, hey, I'm ready to go enjoy my life, I followed him in there too.
Yeah.
It's a neat challenge. It's something different every day. But I wish I'd have had a little bit more training at this job.
So do you have to work for him?
Not technically, no, but he definitely bosses me
Directly.
around a lot. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
It's some fun going up in the morning about 7:15 and asking him how he's doing because he's never awake until 9.
He's not a
10
morning person.
after first break.
So
I'm usually hairs up, zombie mode. I'm just on autopilot. Just
So do you and Mom work in the same area?
no. I work in the automotive department. My mother works in the industrial department.
Family business for sure.
it has been.
Terry's one of my BFFs, so I love her to death.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you didn't know that? Ever.
I think your mom's getting pretty close to 15 years now, isn't she?
Yeah.
Seems
Think
like she's
a
been
year or
there
two
forever.
away. Yeah, every day at lunch, I always see this text, Shelly, this guy.
Yeah. I always try to shoot her a have a good day. Because me personally, I couldn't be a factory worker. I knew that when I got out of high school and I went to college. My first year I had a lot of fun and came home and went to work at Eckridge for a summer. Hated it. And at that point in my life I decided I wasn't built for factory work. So I have the utmost respect for your mom because I know she works long hours and
She definitely
she
works
never
hard.
has any time off because I'm always like, hey, you want to go up to the lake with me? She's like, I gotta work.
Yeah.
So I have great respect for her and what she does.
And I was on the road selling for close to 15 years too. And when I came back inside, it was the adjustment of okay, this is where I'm going to be positioned for 10 hours. And you do get a lot of respect for these people. I have the comfort of
That's hard to do the same thing
over and over and over and over. I have times where I have to get in my office where it's either heated or air conditioned and get out of that stuff and to watch these people really work hard
Yeah.
for 8 or 10 hours in the heat or the humidity in the factory. It says a lot to be a factory worker because
Yeah,
it's
it
really
does.
hard work. She's
She's always given me a hard time about how I'm a mover. The hour and a half that we sit here, sometimes is really painful for me because it's an hour and a half where I could be moving,
Mhm.
and Terry's out. And I said, oh my gosh, what you do, it takes a whole different person to do that. Day in, day out, when it's 90 degrees outside, it's what, double that in the factory, or?
Oh my gosh! I mean, we had 75 today, and the factory was just humid
I can't even
this
imagine.
morning, and
It's just disgusting. His office. You're in it. You're in his office, and it's so nice. And you walk out, and it's like a brick wall.
you know, most
Yeah.
of my employees don't like to go in my office. That normally means bad things are going to happen.
Yeah. Well,
So they try to stay away from
Yeah.
it.
It's really a lot of hard work in a very humid, hot
Yeah.
environment. Melting lead is not a cool temperature, so it really steams that factory up in a hurry.
He's that guy, when you see him coming, people say, don't make eye contact with Mike, here he comes.
yeah.
Yeah, here
That's
he
not
comes,
even a
don't look
lie.
at him.
It's not even a lie.
And it's so
If we
funny
don't look
because,
at him, he might not notice us.
because you see that, and it's so funny. It's like, God, do I really have that bad of a reputation around here?
Yeah, and then
I'm
they're
just
like,
a nice guy.
yeah, and then I'm that guy. And his nephew's like, look what your uncle did this week.
Yeah.
Jerk.
Yeah.
But we,
Why you
have,
gotta have an uncle like that?
but we have fun. We're gonna have fun Saturday night, so hopefully everybody will forgive me.
I'm sure. You guys
It's
always
gonna
have
be
a
a
good
blast.
time.
I can't wait.
Good. I'm looking forward to it too. I'm not gonna make you draw in your head since, but he's a driver, so
He has
Farmer said he had to draw a crown battery of the building.
he
you
has
know.
to do this. Well,
Or a battery.
or a battery. That's up to you, but you can't look down. You can't shoot like Philo
I don't-
did. I don't know if you saw Philo, but you don't want to flip it over so you're not already on the lines.
Yeah, wait.
You got it.
I got it right.
No, you're on the
You're on
lines.
the line.
Oh, you don't want it on the lines?
No.
So
It's
you do remember Josh's graduation party, right?
I do.
We're supposed to have a post-race party at Mike's Bar and Grill. Is there any
Which is a sponsor of the number 10 car.
Is there any way that I can't? Anything I should know about Josh and what he can't have that night? I mean, well, that's not bad, kid.
Let me see.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. Darn
Autograph that
good.
for us, sir.
I don't
Let's
know,
hope
but
your
I
front
bet if
tire
I
doesn't
think
look like that the other
if
day.
I think about it long enough, we might be able to come up with something.
It sounds like they're scheming against you. There's a shot
we
of
would never do that,
Josh
Josh.
Harrison, number 10. That's pretty good, Josh.
It is.
So,
That's
drew,
right up
drew a
there.
lot of number 10 cars when I was a kid, so.
Right up there with
Yeah.
Chris Andrews. On top
40.
of your head.
Yeah. No, on top of
that was his dad.
Yeah.
That was super.
Yeah, he was the one on top of his head a lot.
For sure. All right, well, I think, thank you guys for coming in, first
Thank
of all. We can't wait for Crown Battery Night. Always a good time. Hopefully I make the pursuit, too.
I hope so too.
I
But,
love that night. I
yeah.
love the pursuit.
It is always a fun night to have that race in there. I think we're going to do the Legends highlights.
Or just want to do the trucks.
Go ahead and do the truck highlights
Right.
and from Saturday night, and then we will come back with Mike Linder. So, come on back.
Door to door out of turn 4, green out. For the lead, Sean Valenti this lap. Jim McGrath gets a run, bump drafting down the backstretch. Here comes Kent Brewer, Jim McGrath to the inside. Dan Rupke Jr. now into the 4th spot. Here comes Rupke to the inside, Valenti to the outside, 2 to go! Rupke again to the inside, the white flag will be in the air, out of turn number 4.
goes again, mixing sauces. Hot barbecue to Parmesan garlic and back again. You're not on the same page of the playbook, are you? It's time to speak up. Next time Loverboy goes to mix, set him straight.
We're gonna stop mixing sauces now, okay? Thank you.
Grab a seat. The game is up.
Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer,
Hey, welcome back to the Last Lap Live. We got a new guest host in with us. Rich Farmer decided to sit in. Shelly thought that he'd be better talking to Michael Linder, our guest. So Shelly's still in the room though. She's
They have a
got.
little bromance going on or something.
Yeah, I know. So they're sitting a lot closer together than him and I are.
Am I supposed to be centered?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
You're good. You're good. So Mike Linder, what did you come on the show as today? Or did you come in as a race car driver, a race car owner, a retired race car driver, or a business card printer?
Yeah, you have to ask him. He called me. Can you be on? I've tried to figure out why I'm here, but I don't know.
Entertainment.
There you go.
Entertainment. He's a good talker. Plus, Mike and I kind of like, we have the same nostalgia kind of feel towards this Legends race deal. So let's talk about that first. You know what? Let me talk about this first. You got a Northwest Vintage Oval Race shirt. Huh? I got one of the. I don't know if you can see that. Which camera are we on here? Go to this camera over here for me. This is the shirt that Alvin Rupke did. What, 1,600 of them? He said, and passed them out to the first 1,600 people that came through the gates. I got mine signed by one of my heroes,
Pretty
Todd
cool.
Vance.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the only one I got on there because I got Todd Vance's, and then I ran around the rest of the time all night going, just checking everything out. It was crazy.
It was a cool night, very cool night. It was a goose pimple night all night. You know, Rich, he pulled off a good one here. That was a great show. What, you guys come up with this, 2 years ago? The idea of it?
The idea was 2 years ago, yeah.
I shook his hand. They went by us. We were standing in the infield, he and I and Craig Mintz together, soaking up the 4 abreast lap. And I turned around after they went by and I shook his hand and said, "You pulled it off." Perfect night, awesome night. I don't know if any way could have been better.
I don't think he could have wrote it better.
You had a great video too. You showed me on your phone. That
Yes.
Craig Mintz, the 410 feature winner, is standing out on the front straightaway watching the 4 wide go by all by himself.
Dead still, standing completely by himself, and just arms folded, soaking it in. You know, guys our age, that was our childhood. You know what I mean? Saturday night was our childhood, and Craig, he kind of missed out on a lot of those guys. You know, being younger, but he's heard the stories and he got to see it. You know, so that's pretty awesome.
It was surreal watching him go down the back straightaway. You know, coming down, taking the one to go, going down the back straightaway, and the only cars I could see were the X car, the 16, the 22, the other 22. I mean, I know the other guys were out there and it was still cool, but it was just like flashback. I'm just going back to those years, seeing those special cars that were done up. That was just the icing on
It was
the
awesome.
cake to have
You know,
that.
the guys with Cody and Clay at CA Customs, they did the 22 and they did Clay's car,
They
obviously.
did
but,
Clay's car and my 22 car, and they did the X.
Yeah, that's spot on. I mean, it was just an awesome night.
You got anything to add, or did you just? I mean, we talked about all this stuff out at the shop.
It just can't get. It's one of those things where we at our house we always try to exceed what you've done last time, and this one is. This one may be impossible.
Yeah, you're in trouble. Like she was saying, that we're still talking about it on Tuesday, and you're still seeing things post up on Facebook on Tuesday.
Yeah.
But I mean,
to
way
me,
to go.
something that happened that was pretty cool. Roger Slack, he runs Eldora Speedway, and they had the Dream this past weekend, which is one of their marquee events. And it was the 3rd day of the Dream, and I get a text from him. He's like, "Hey man, good luck tonight. This is really cool. I wish I could be there." And he's at the Dream at Eldora Speedway, which is another obviously very rich in history event, and so that was pretty cool. And got to talk to Fred Raymer. That was pretty cool. But to go forward, hopefully we can do it again. And
now, is this something you're going to try and do next year? Or are you going to do a?
I think we'll do it again next year and try to get some different people and this and that, and hopefully it picks up and takes off like the Knoxville deal, where they had the Legends guys, and with our rules package, you can't have Steve Kinzer ain't gonna come steal the show. So hopefully it picks up and we can get some guys from around the country that would want to come and do it, and it'd be a good deal.
Yeah, because really, I mean, it doesn't have to be local at all. You could get them from. I mean, there's legendary guys all the way across the country.
Well, today my wife she posted a picture
her profile picture is of her and Rick Ferkel. And when we took that picture, she said that she was 12 years old again. You know, we were taking that picture, and Shane Carson and Rick Unger commented on that picture. Those guys are paying attention to this.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, so they see how it went. They see how, and to be honest with you, I think you'll understand this much. Well, both of you will. It wasn't a display race. This was a race. You know, and racers are attracted to that. This is not something that's
Right.
just for fun. You know, and it's in cars that are a little more drivable. You know, 305s are still tough to drive, but a little more drivable than a 410. This, I really do believe your phone's going to ring. You know, on guys like that. You know, I mean, there's a lot of names out there that are available for this. You know, I by no means saying that they've called, but you've got Bobby Allen is available for this. You know, guys like that if with now that there's legitimacy to the race, they may show interest in it.
And that's something we've always wanted to, from day one, wanted to make sure that it wasn't an exhibition. You know, we had guys get upside down and
say, I got proof in the yard to show.
It's an unfortunate deal that people got upside down and got some stuff tore up. You know, it's not obviously what we want to have happen, but we want them to race. We want them to race hard. And I myself, I never expected the racing to be as good as it was.
I tell you what, that heat race between Little Kenny
That was
and
awesome.
Clay was incredible.
Yeah.
It looked like that Trevino and Colvin,
It
you know,
was.
match race that they had. It was just the King of the Hill race. It was just unbelievable to see them guys going at it back and forth and running out of gas at the same time. Kind of helped, but
Well, and if you know the two, you know that there've always been a little bit of competition there between those two, so it adds to it. You know, that
And they're
those
they're
are-
real good buddies.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
they hang out in the shop together and they're working on a street rod deal that Clay's got going. And so to see them guys at it, it was pretty cool.
you know, you're talking about them guys getting upside down. My brother took a bunch of pictures and posted one on Facebook on a vintage sprint car site and said, in case you were thinking that this was just a vintage, you know, come out and play around thing, Jim Linder and Kenny Jacobs got upside down. That doesn't, you know, Johnny Oxter went out and rode around in a vintage car. He wasn't going to get upside down
Right.
with Lee Booz. You know what I mean? They weren't going to get upside down. We weren't racing like that. These guys were going for it. And I know Kenny already posted on his Facebook that he can't wait for next year. He's going to win it.
Kenny went 3 wide on the first lap of the first race.
Yeah,
You
right.
know,
Going
and,
for it.
You know, that goes to show you just, you know, he had a whole race to get there, and he just knew that he needed to get there now.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he paid for it. But he still come back, and I mean, they had a good run after that in a far less than superb race car at that point. The frame was bent up pretty good, and
Bring it up to fourth.
yeah.
He did. He made it up to fourth. And I tell you what, though, we see it every week, but it never really changed. There was guys down there thrashing on that race car. It was, I mean, this race meant something. You know, it was the Knoxville National.
Well, I saw a picture of Kenny's daughter carrying a fuel tank from
Yep.
Cole Duncan's trailer.
Exactly.
You know, to put a fuel tank. And there's his daughter, you know, who she's, you know, a radio personality and whatnot. And she come to see her dad race, and
Yep.
she's gonna do whatever she can to help. And here's a little girl carrying, not a little girl, but a
Right.
thin girl carrying a big old fuel tank through the pit.
He said he was done for the night, and Kendra said, "What are you doing? You came here to race. Go down to Kierson, get what you need."
Yeah,
Yeah.
she said, "I'll buy whatever it takes."
Yeah.
Yeah, and then she's running around. My brother got that picture
Good.
of her running away. I screamed at him. I said, "Look, she's carrying a tank. Get the picture." So they talked about that a little bit on their show today. It was kind of funny.
Ed Hodenshield said if he didn't get a ride for next year, that he had enough parts. He figured he gonna build his own car
Really?
You could almost see
just
his
for this race.
Afterwards, you could almost see Ed's wheels taking.
Oh, yeah.
a picture.
And you know who had just as much fun as Ed? His wife. She came up after the race. I was standing there. She came out of the stands, and she gave him a big old hug, and she had this gigantic smile on her face. You know, she loved it too. Just all the people that were around it. It wasn't just the drivers, obviously. The people that were
You
standing
mentioned
around.
after the race. I think that was probably one of the best parts of the night. You know, I can't recall the last time seeing the pits that full.
Oh yeah.
You know, after an event, and you know the fans knew these guys are going to stick around. You know, we had a band down there, and everybody, you know, did real good, long lines getting autographs, and
Well, we
really
sat there
grateful for
quite
that.
a while. Well, we had to get a race car together enough to get in the or get it on the trailer. And Cody Kinzer was the first trailer I saw leave, and we were there quite a while, you know, before that happened. And I didn't see another one leave for a long time. You know, so the guys were all the divisions, you know, not just the 305 guys, but all the divisions stuck around. And
Yeah, well, there was drivers walking around getting autographs and stuff.
Yeah,
Looking around.
yeah.
I was trying to talk to as many guys as I could there.
I got a picture on my phone with me and Rick Ferkel.
Did you?
The only other picture I've got, well, two other ones, me and Mark Egan, and Rick, Raleigh Beal and I, and that's the only 3 driver photos Yeah, my Rick Ferkel's my latest one.
We were talking about that yesterday at his shop as he was pulling broken parts off of his race car. But I had a GoPro, my phone charged up, and another little video camera that I took to the races so that I could get everything. And I took 5 pictures. And all the rest of the time, I didn't take anything. You know, I mean, I was talking to Rick and Jerry and Mark Keegan. And Mark Keegan it was so funny. He did the same thing in Victory Lane, basically. But he's like, I just can't wait for it to be over. I just want it to be over. And I'm wondering if it's like, this might draw me back in. I want it to be over so that doesn't happen.
And he called me. Mark called me afterwards and the next day, and he told me, he says, I don't think you realize how much I wanted to win the first one. He said, I wanted this probably worse than any other race.
Yeah.
And so that's really cool. And he's going to get some shirts made.
Oh no.
First annual the first annual Legends race at Fremont Speedway shirts with his picture on it and stuff, you know, like a Mark Keegan shirt with a list of all the other racers that were in the event on it, awesome. And all the money is going to go to the Hall of Fame. So, awesome. You know, that's a cool deal.
That's Mark Keegan.
Yeah.
You know, it's, just to add on Mark before his heat race, Dad was in the heat after Mark, and Mark was sitting in staging. We got there a little early. Mark's heat hadn't pushed off yet, and so I ran up and kind of patted him on the chest, you know, in the car, and said, "Hey, good luck, Mark." And he never even acknowledged me. He was staring straight out the front of the car, and so, you know, that there, you know, Dad's attitude was a little different than Mark's going in. Mark was there to win that race.
Oh yeah.
He was not there to have fun. He was there to win that race. And I get the feeling Kenny Jacobs was that way. You know, there was a handful of guys that their only purpose of being there was to win that race.
Well, you know, we talked about Jerry Niemeyer going through chemo and all that stuff and having a rough time. But your wife got a picture, got some video of him. She's back and she zooms into his helmet and his eyes, and it was in his eyes. Jerry probably wasn't going to be able to stay in the car long enough to do it, but you could see it in his eyes that he wanted to win too. I mean, he wasn't just there to ride around either.
Those guys aren't legends because they went to the track to have fun.
Right.
You know, they had fun by winning. That's how they became legends. And so you can't shut that off. You know, your health, your age may keep you from doing it, but you can't shut it off. You know, so.
Do you think any of those guys felt old?
I know of one guy that was.
But they all seemed like they were just back in their heyday.
Yeah, I talked to Rick Ferkel right before the feature, and Rick was pretty upset. And you and I discussed this yesterday, that it was a blessing and a curse, you know, to get to see that.
Right.
You know, but there was guys. Yeah, I think once they're in the car and the switch is on, they're 25 years old. You know what I mean? Mentally, they're 25 years old. 5 laps into it, they realize they're maybe a little older than that.
I always say driving a race car is like a drug addict.
It is.
You
it's
put
just
your helmet on and everything, and the rest of the world doesn't matter for that moment that you're there, and there's not a better feeling.
It is a sense of, and all three of us know it, but it's a sense of aloneness. You know, I don't want to call it aloneness, but I don't know how to describe it. But it's peace. You know, to be. It's hard to believe. Yeah, solitude. Yeah. It's a really good feeling. You know, I asked Frankie Kerr. Why don't we come up to run them deals with where we had Stewart and so forth there, and he says, I miss driving these cars. I don't miss racing these cars. You know, he misses that feeling of being in that car, and you know, there's a big difference between driving them and racing them, and so it's to have those guys there in a group of guys. It was a perfect group of guys. You know, next year I don't know how many will come back, how many new ones we'll get, but it was awesome.
In between and before the race, well, mainly before, I would assume, because once they get into racing, then they were kind of in the race mode. But like in the opening there, my brother shot video and Stephanie shot video of all kinds of different stuff, and to see like there's a shot of Kenny Jacobs, Brad Doty, Jim Linder, and Rick Ferkel standing there shooting the breeze before the races. And the smiles on their faces. At one point, you know, Rick comes up behind Kenny Jacobs and grabs him on both shoulders and says hi. And Brad Doty was there, and you know, I mean, they were having a good time. I saw Lee Potter. He's sitting on the hill in front of the pit tower, and he's sitting on the hill, but he's sitting there as a race car driver that night. You know what I mean, you could just see that he wasn't standing up in the tower watching the cars go around that night. He was sitting there as a race car driver waiting for stuff to happen.
And Lee's one of the elder ones.
Yeah.
You know, he's 70 something. I forget what he said he was. 72 maybe.
Yeah.
And he went out and he's 5th quick.
Yeah.
You know, so it's you know, some of them guys, it's just
That was another car. It was like when he raced it
Yeah.
too. It was
Yeah,
the
yeah,
white with the blue 28.
white and blue 28.
And he had that mindset when he was here a month or so ago, and he was going
Yeah,
to race.
he wasn't going there to parade. He was going there to race.
Yeah, it's we talked about closing speed in 410s. The closing speed in those was pretty good too, because there was some guys that were running fast on a straightaway, and then they was going slow through the corners, and the guys behind them weren't really sure how fast that was going to happen. I talked with Ed Hodenshield, and he just about hit the infield tire and got upside down in the heat race, spinning it out, because things kind of went whoa right on there.
Well, what was the lap times? Lap times are right there at 410 speed, weren't they?
Close.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I mean that's proof of the pudding right there. You know that.
Well, yeah, that's, Mark Keegan ran a 14.601, his quick lap, and DJ Foose finished 10th in the 410s, and his quickest lap was 14.640. So
Mark was top 10 speed.
yeah,
you
top
know.
10, top speed. Yeah, so I mean that's really moving for sure.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I mean, it ended rough for us, but all in all, it does matter, but
Yeah.
it don't matter. It was a lot of fun.
It's it turned into laps rather quickly though, because I saw on Twitter there was a Twitter war going back and forth between the Linders and Tom Basinger car driver George Dussel, who were comparing broken parts and bent radius rods and that kind of stuff.
Nate, he's trying to, act like his dad's pretty good for bending all those radius rods, and I saw that we were buttoning up for the night just about, and we had a pretty good pile going in behind the house there, and I said, well, I'll get to it tomorrow, and I saw that post that Nate put on, about, hey, look at these radius rods that are all bent up, and I knew they'd talk more than that, but he put a picture of the rods, and so we quick threw everything on one pile and took a picture of it, and I explained to him that my daddy's pile was bigger than his daddy's pile.
Meanwhile, Tim Merrill's smoking 4 cigarettes
Yes.
a minute, looking at the stuff in the back of his truck.
Yeah, he's thinking, man,
Yeah, his pile
I
is
should have
really
taken a
big.
picture of the whole car. It got tore up. But at the end of the day, everybody that put a race car out there and risked their race car is, that says a lot. What they thought of this event and their willingness to do it. And we have, as of right now, I think I have 7 cars committed for next year's event already. They're just like, sign us up.
Yeah, that's
Just-
awesome. That's what I was wondering if you talked to some of the guys that put the cars up. To see
Yeah,
what they
yeah.
said.
Them guys. After the race was over, I made sure I went through the pits and thanked every one of them to, for putting a car together and bringing it out there and doing this deal. And almost every one of them's like, let's sign us up. Let's just do it again and that kind of thing. So hopefully we can get the talent and the people and try it again.
And the crowd was fantastic.
Which I figured it would be.
Yeah.
You had several things there. You've got the Hall of Fame induction, which I thought was awesome. Them guys that give them speeches and getting it, they do an awesome job or what? I mean,
That was one of the
it's-
highest attended. I think it was the highest attended Hall of Fame induction ceremony that we had. And
the main grandstands was at least 3/4 full.
yes, and
You know, for that, for
debatably,
at least.
we've had Hall of Fame inductions where Rick Ferkel and Jack Hewitt got inducted at the same time, and this
Wasn't
group,
that good, yeah.
it's just the Hall of Fame is grown into such a neat deal.
It's a family deal now. I mean, the families of the people going in are really starting to support it.
Yes.
And
Well,
they're
you see
showing up in
that
T-shirts.
The
and-
old inductees come in, their families are all dressed in pink T-shirts or
Yeah.
purple T-shirts and flakehead T-shirts he was signing autographs on and giving out, and so they've embraced it.
Yeah,
actually.
Flake had shirts, Clay had
Yeah.
shirts.
Those Playcon shirts were pretty neat.
Yeah.
I like those.
And they decided to do that like the day before the thing, and luckily Clay's got a machine where he can,
Knock a
he
few out,
can
yeah.
knock a few out on his own. So that's, when you see those things and see how that deal's growing, it's just, it's really neat to sit back and watch
It was
it.
neat to see Jim Ward get inducted and the emotion.
Oh, that was cool.
There's a lot of fans that go and they leave for the trucks or the street stocks or whatever, but to see the emotion in that guy's face, that it means everything to all the racers there.
Yeah.
It's not, I hate to see that disrespect when people leave because I don't want to watch the trucks
His
race. but-
his voice,
Oh.
he barely
Yeah,
comes
He
through.
actually apologized because he felt bad, and we had explained to him that not to feel bad.
Yeah.
No,
Because
it's
that is-
about
Not the
him.
first.
This
yeah.
is the moment. This is your one moment.
Right.
Nobody else. You do this one time, and that's it. You don't get inducted next week again or next year. You don't get to come back and be like, "Hey, man, I forgot to say this."
Well, and have
You
you
know.
ever noticed over the years, everybody that does get choked up, it's when they bring up their family. You know, my dad was, my Uncle Fred was, Jim Ward was. Everybody that does that, it's when they'll go through. I want to thank Bob Johnson for all the years of this and that, and then I'll get to his wife and his kids, and then that's when that's racing is a family sport, and everybody in the family. My wife grew up, with a family that raced, and now she's in our family that races, and but every car in the pits is the same way.
Right.
They all got
I think
got
a lot of
family.
them probably realize what they missed out of.
Yes.
With what their family sacrificed, or maybe the birthday parties and those types of things that they missed out of, and they're just real grateful for the people that stood behind them to let them do that.
That's pretty cool.
It almost makes it worth it.
Yes.
Almost at that point when you get inducted, like this is why I did all that.
It's been appreciated, at that point.
So,
What else? Dad's doing well. His ribs are sore. He stretched my seat out. Hard to believe, but yes, he his ankle was pretty bad. It's black now, but he can walk on it. And
It's a
his
sign of
ribs,
healing.
Yes.
That's what they've always told me when you get hurt.
And,
it's a sign of healing when it changes color.
And what does he say about if this race happens again next year?
I would assume that he would probably do it.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not. He's upset with himself because he's not 20. The same as all the guys that are that age. That he's disappointed that he still can't do 20 laps. He knew he couldn't. But he's going to give it a ride anyways.
But there's something in the back of their
Yeah.
mind that still thinks that
Yes.
for the moment. Like you said,
And I had been pimping him pretty hard.
There was somebody with their foot in his back
for about 6 months. And
Well, what he said yesterday, which was pretty funny to me, is the green flag came out and Mark had 4 car lengths on him,
Yes.
and it ticked them off.
Yes, that's not how he said it, but
Right. But not only did it tick him off because Mark had 4 lengths in front of him, but there was a guy in front of him who
Yes.
also had 4 car lengths.
It
in
felt
front
like
of
he
him.
got beat on the start, and he was disappointed in that. And
Yeah.
and I had told anybody that's been around when Jim Linder's around and you don't perform, or you perform less than what he thinks you could perform, he's very good at telling you about it. So before the race, I told him, I said, you better run that son of a bitch in on the front wheels. And just joking around because it would be fun to kind of give him some of it back. And then he busted the thing up. So
and you felt bad.
yeah, I kind of felt bad he busted it up.
Well, don't worry, his buddies didn't feel bad.
No,
They were giving him business at lunch the
they
next
were
day.
ruthless. They were ruthless.
Especially with Mark winning, I just can't imagine how that went.
Larry Keegan, we went to a birthday party for Larry Keegan on Sunday, and I came later. Dad had one earlier, and when I got there was Larry and Dad were sitting together, and Larry says, "Well, that's one way to keep from falling out of the seat." So they're pretty ruthless. But real quick, I want to make sure I thank Rich. Rich provided the engine for that car. I got to run it on Friday, and which was awesome. I love
too.
a good run. Yeah, I would like to done a little bit. I probably should have run 3rd, but I backed it up to 5th. But I really enjoy running 305 cars. They're a lot of fun. The guys are a lot of fun, and Rich gave us a motor to use, and for the Legends race, which then allowed me to run it the night before. And but I want to just thank you for that. That's and that's not the only car that was out there, and that was not the only engine that was upside down by the end of the night.
No, when we were
Yeah, the 29 car was upside. It's funny because everybody knows it's the Farmer 29. Everybody was concerned about the 312 and the 39 and that, and nobody ever said anything about the 29.
Yeah.
What is up with that?
she got a little ribbon on it, but that car, that wing's 3 years old, that got wrecked, and it's kind of been the community race car as of lately. My boys have played around with it just a little bit, and Tyler tore his car up. We put him in it for a few nights, and
he looked awesome.
And yeah, the kid done a really good job, and that has a subpar engine in it. It's originally that engine, we got it just for something for my kids to practice with and wear out, and we don't really care much about it. It's just there, and when it dies type of deal. And then Friday night we go to Attica, and my oldest boy got to make his first laps, which after hot laps, when I was ready to kill him, in the heat race he did a pretty good job. He did he
Did you
got
give him the Jim Linder treatment?
Well, he come down to our trailer.
I walked away the first time because he frustrated me so bad because he couldn't keep the thing running, and at that point I was livid. I was just, so I had to walk away from him because I tend to be pretty hard on him as it is, and I just had to get away for a moment. And then I come back and I explained to him that if he wasn't going to get on the gas pedal, then we might as well just put it in the trailer and go home. Because, I told him, I said, I don't expect you to run it wide open. I said, you don't need to go out there and run it wide open and be a Superman. I said, but try to keep up. Try to keep up. And I explained to him that with those cars, if you go slow, they're a lot harder to drive than they are if you're going fast. So in the heat race, he did a pretty good job, and then Ivy had some engine problems, and them guys, they're good friends of mine, and they've been very helpful along the years, and so I let him run that thing so he could, try to stay in the deal at Attica. And he give it a good ride.
That's how Little Kenny ended up in the 29 on Saturday.
Yeah,
because he was supposed to run Ivy's.
And I heard a rumor that Ivy, the motor's really not hurt. They just didn't want Little Kenny to run it the next night.
No, it's hurt. We just had tacos with them guys before they come here, and they went and got their other motor had just gotten done at Paul's, and they got that thing. And Little Kenny and Kenny Clark and them guys, they have been, great supporters of the racetrack. And Kenny was the very first sponsor I ever had on a race car. And so when his kid was out of a ride, it was kind of a way to thank them for everything they've done for us.
We were talking about this, though, when Kenny was on the show, when Kenny and Bobby were on the show, about him getting upside down every time he runs Fremont. And he's legendary at it, apparently, because he did it during the Legends race.
Yeah, when he flipped it, when he got upside down, the first thing I thought of was when his dad told me that people wondered if it was an airport at the fence company because there was so many wrecked wings laying there. So I'm kind of thinking I might want to take that one over and lay it at the fence company.
Yeah. It was kind of funny because just a few minutes before that happened, Farmer just pops up and he's like, Speed Week's coming. I kind of been thinking about maybe, doing something with the 410, and then the 29 got upside down on the front stretcher, and I was like, really?
I don't own a 410 anymore, but when Speed Week comes around, it gets awfully tempting to call someone up and rent a motor or buy one or something, because it's just it's one of those deals that you guys understand. It's just fun, For me, going around and doing the Speed Week deal it's been a lot of fun.
That week with Shane Stewart was pretty cool.
When I got to race with Shane and Rob and we go down there, and we was able, luckily, to win one and pull into the car wash, and there's all these big trucks and trailers and all this stuff, and we have a pretty good sized truck and trailer, but for that deal we were using a half-ton pickup and a 24-foot small trailer, and when they're all parked around the car wash, we drove through the car wash, drove the truck and trailer through the bay, laid the door down, and rolled the race car out. And that was pretty cool, because we did that with pretty much our spare parts. It wasn't even like our primary stuff. It was
Shane Stewart
kind of our
had been known
leftovers.
to do that kind of thing before, though. When he ran at 8H and won the Speed Week Championship, that was the same kind of deal. So it finally paid off for him. Now he's running that Larson stuff.
Yeah.
So that's good. So what's your outlook here for the rest of the year now that your dad crashed your race car?
Inventory is depleted.
Okay.
And on an up note, Linder Speed Equipment had a record sales week.
Now, we talked about this yesterday. When you would crash a car, he would make you fix it. Now, I know you were pulling it apart a little bit, but did you have him fix it?
Well, he's over there too. He's got work to do. The frame it'll be a bare frame probably by Wednesday, but it needs some TLC, and we got plenty to do. I don't know. We're obviously not gonna race this weekend, mainly because we're lazy, but we just let's just settle down here. This is not supposed to be a full-time race program.
I know it's because they're lazy, because I got a car sitting at my shop that's complete minus the motor, and I told him to go get it. And
there's a motor sitting right there in the shop.
Literally wouldn't take an hour, and this thing would be race ready. So it's in their own doings at that point.
We just we'll take a little bit of time here and do an inventory check and see where we're at. And
the inventory is full. The car is ready to go.
Yes, I've been trying to quit driving race cars for 2 years.
Yeah.
And
well, you're like every other racer. You're a terrible quitter.
I'm a terrible quitter. Yes. Yeah, but I don't know. Well, we have a race. It's on a Wednesday night at Sandusky that we're going to try to run on blacktop. We're going to do that. We used to run a lot of blacktop, and Rich gave me an opportunity here a few years ago to do it, and had a blast doing it then. And
there's a reason for that, though, right?
As far as
you're gonna take your dad's.
Yeah, well, that was kind of secondary actually. The old car was secondary on that. We heard about it, and it was brought up to us, and and thought it'd be kind of cool to do that. And I like running up there, you know, but it's just pavement's not. You know, I don't like a steady diet of it. It's fun once in a while, but it's on, and it works out great that it's on Wednesday night and doesn't interfere with anything else. And
The 305 race?
it's a 410 race.
Oh, it's 410.
It's super modified against sprint cars.
Oh, okay.
And there's no rules.
Wow.
And so we like those no rules races. Some are
Yeah.
kind of fun. And you like them too.
Yeah, I do.
But
Not on the pavement.
but so we'll do that. That's obviously going to be in there. Now we want to try to run as many Fremont shows as we can. You know, Rich has done a lot for us, and at least we can do is at least put another car in the field for him, and so we want to do as many of those as we can, and get that Sandusky race in. And that, from there, I don't know. It really is a coin toss. Hey, we're gonna race. It's too hot. We'll go next week, and so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, be careful with that. You tried that a little earlier in the year, and they had 16 cars at Addison,
Yes.
and you decided not
Yes.
to go.
Yeah.
Could have done some racing. All right, well, it's like 20 after 8, so we've been here a long
Is that
time.
late?
She likes to get out of here.
Oh, okay.
I heard her say earlier the hour and a half that she has to sit here is just terrible because she
No,
has to keep moving.
not just
So
that.
I took that as a shot against me, so I'm going to
I have a
there's
hard
a-
time sitting for an hour and a half.
And there's a lady that's outside this room here that
Yeah, Stephanie's sitting out there in the
her phone
office.
battery's probably dead by now. So
She did
so
a great job videoing stuff for this.
She did
This
awesome. She
Legends
did
race,
awesome.
so
Yeah,
some
she's-
really neat stuff.
I can't wait to see the finished product.
This is gonna be cool.
I know he said don't expect it tomorrow. And
Right.
You guys
So
all
give
know
it
how
till Friday.
difficult that is for me because I'm the guy that says just make it happen. And
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I'm
I-
gonna try for about a month to get everything I can get. I'm gonna contact as many teams as I can. Somebody had to be standing there with their phone the correct way and getting some
Also,
video.
This is
Friday-
really hard.
Friday is out of the question.
Friday is out of the question. Yeah, for sure.
That's
I
not
forgot
bad.
the number, Michael.
Oh, you got to put the number on it too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or can I locate the wing and then put it up there?
Yeah.
Well, I guess Philo cheated, so now we got two cheaters.
okay.
there.
He does work at a print shop.
He is a known cheater.
Yes.
So
Oh, I missed. Swing and a miss.
that's all right. I can tell you that's considerably better
That
than
is a good one.
James Linder. He ain't that good. But go ahead and autograph that for us if you would. Someday when you go in the Hall of Fame, you're not getting a plaque. They're going to put that on there for you.
That'd be perfect.
All right. Well, thanks for coming in, Mike.
Thank you.
I enjoyed it.
Thanks for having us.
I'm sure
Thank you.
Rich enjoyed it too. We didn't have. Oh, we do have the highlights from the Legends race. So this is just a touch. The stuff that we had at the beginning and this here is just some of the footage that we got is just absolutely incredible. So I will get on it. Certainly not by Friday, but I can't wait to start putting it together anyway.
Make it happen.
So we're going to go ahead and close the show. We're going to give you the Legends highlights, and we want you to come back next Tuesday night at 7 o'clock, and we're going to try and get guests before the day before.
Saturday night, Crown Battery night.
Saturday night, Crown Battery night. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter and LastLapLive.com and all those things. So go ahead, Steve, and send us away.
Clay Kime, Charlie Fisher, side by side. Out of turn number 4, they drop the hammer, green out. Jim Linder upside down in turn 1. Charlie Fisher out of turn 4 leads lap number 1. Mark Keegan to the inside of Charlie Fisher takes the lead. Eric Rankin up to the 3rd spot. Out of turn 4, Mark Keegan gets the victory. Eric Rankin will come home 2nd. Rodney Duncan in 3rd. Kenny Jacobs 4th. Charlie Fisher round out your top 5.
I'm telling you, it's our year, Ron. Oh, look, it's Mr. NASCAR.
Still have your know-how, huh? Yep.
That's why Ron has more than 35 NHRA wins. Well, Martin has 2 NASCAR Nationwide Championships. Whatever. You're ugly. You want to step outside?
Sweep the leg.
We don't have legs.
Never mind.